Okay, good morning. We are, oh, sorry. Was somebody have something preliminary before we go on the record?
No, I'm just the court reporter saying I am ready to go.
Okay, we will be on the record now. Good morning. We are here for Public Service Commission hearing in docket 193542, application of Rocky Mountain Power for approval of the 2020 Inter-Jurisdictional Cost Allocation Agreement. Today's March 23rd, 2020. And we have all three members of the Public Service Commission on the line. And let me just go through other participants. So for Rocky Mountain Power, Ms. Wegener, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Did I pronounce your last name right?
Wegener, yeah.
Wegener, okay. And then Ms. Stewart, Mr. McDougall, and Mr. Wilding, are you three all on the line?
I am. This is Ms. Stewart.
I'm Mr. McDougall, yes. And this is Mr. Wilding.
Okay, thank you. And then Ms. Schmidt, did I hear you on the phone representing the division?
Yes, you did. I am here. Thank you.
Okay, and Dr. Powell, are you on the phone, on the line?
Yes, this is Artie Powell.
Okay, and then who do we have representing the Office of Consumer Services?
This is Robert Moore. I'm representing the Office of Consumer Services. Cheryl Murray will be our witness.
Okay, and she's on the line also now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Do we have someone representing Western Resource Advocates on the phone?
Yes, good morning, Chair. This is Sophie Hayes representing Western Resource Advocates. And Nancy Kelly can pipe up, but she should be on the phone as well as our witness. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Just a moment. I do not know the main speaker. You have not identified yourself?
Oh, this is Thad LeVar. Sorry, I identified myself when I first started.
Thank you. And you're not one of the names that I was given, so I appreciate that.
Oh, this is the court reporter?
Correct.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't, on the piece of paper we sent you, I forgot to put the names of the three commissioners. I apologize. We'll get that to you immediately. Do we have anyone from Nucor Steel on the line?
Yeah, Eric Lacey is on representing Nucor Steel.
Okay, and you don't have a witness, correct?
No, we do not.
Hey, do we have anyone on the line from Utah Association of Energy Users?
Yes, Philip Russell with UAE. We also do not have a witness.
Okay, do we have anyone from Utah Clean Energy?
Yes, this is Hunter Holman, and we also do not have a witness.
Okay, thank you. Any other preliminary matters before we move to Rocky Mountain Power's first witness? Okay, Ms. Wegener, you may call your first witness.
Rocky Mountain Power's first witness is Joelle Stewart.
Ms. Stewart, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then I'll just give one last reminder. If you're not speaking, please put your phone on mute, and that will help the audio quality significantly. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Can you state your name and business address?
My name is Joelle Stewart. My business address is 1407 West North Temple, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84116.
Did you submit testimony in conjunction with the company's application in this matter?
Yes, I did.
And can we move to admit the testimony? Oh, do you have any corrections to make to that testimony?
Yes, I have one correction. It's on line 488, which is on page 23. It's a question that currently reads, in the event that each state with exit orders accepts the company's recommendation, instead with should be replaced by without. So it should read, in the event that each state without exit orders accepts the company's recommendation.
Thank you. Any other corrections?
No.
Okay. Move to admit Ms. Stewart's testimony.
Okay, this is Thad LeVar. If anyone objects to that motion, please say so in the next few seconds. And I'm not hearing any objections, so the motion is granted. Thank you.
Can you please provide a summary of your testimony?
Yes. Thank you. Good morning. I am pleased to present the 2020 protocol to the Commission for approval. The 2020 protocol is the culmination of 3 years of collaboration and analysis undertaken by participants in the multi-state process, or MSP. The MSP group is comprised of approximately 35 parties, including a wide array of key stakeholders across Pacific Corp's 6-state service area, including regulatory agency staff, consumer advocates, customers, and multiple industrial and environmental interest groups. The 2020 protocol is the latest iteration in the inter-jurisdictional allocation to be used among the majority of Pacific Corp states. The inter-jurisdictional allocation methods have been used for Pacific Corp for over 30 years. This 2020 protocol, like past allocation methods, describes the way all components of Pacific Corp's regulated service for generation, transmission, and distribution costs and benefits are assigned and allocated among the states for regulatory filings and setting rates. While the 2020 protocol retains many of the allocation policies and practices used in the most recently approved methodology, which was the 2017 protocol, the 2020 protocol represents a fundamental shift in how the company proposes to address interjurisdictional cost allocation, with an ultimate goal of moving away from the dynamic allocation factors and a common generation resource portfolio to an allocation protocol with fixed allocation factors for generation resources and state-specific resource portfolios. To achieve this goal, the 2020 protocol reflects a transition approach that relies on continuation of the 2017 protocol with certain minor modifications during an interim period, while parties continue to meet to resolve the remaining cost allocation issues. This transition away from the common generation portfolio is necessitated by the divergence of policies in the Pacific Corp states. The bedrock of the use of dynamic allocation factors has been that all states were served from a common portfolio of assets, which enabled Pacific Corp to cost-effectively plan for and operate as an integrated whole. However, state policies, such as the requirements to remove coal from rates in certain states, challenge the long-standing practice of planning for the integrated system. The 2020 protocol responds to the diverging state policies by providing a process of transitioning California, Oregon, and Washington from coal-fired resources without limiting the availability of those same resources to other states. Specifically, the 2020 protocol, which is attached to my testimony as Exhibit JRS-1, reflects the following. First, it establishes the allocation and assignment policies, procedures, and methods to be used during the interim period for all components of Pacific Corp's regulated service in the company's 6 states. The interim period is defined as January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2023, unless agreement on framework issues is reached earlier. For Utah, as well as other states with the exception of Washington, the 2020 protocol simply extends the use of the 2017 protocol through 2023. The exceptions to the 2017 protocol are the elimination of the equalization adjustment, changes to the embedded cost differential adjustment, treatment of qualifying facilities, and changes to general governance. The ECD will be addressed by Mr. McDougall, and Mr. Wilding discusses QF. Overall, retaining the majority of provisions in the 2017 protocol means that costs will continue to be dynamically allocated through the interim period unless they are state-specific, such as distribution assets. New resources that come into service before the end of the interim period will be treated as system resources. Second, it contains an agreement on certain issues that are intended to be implemented during the interim period, identified as implemented issues. These include procedures for states to exit coal-fueled resources, a process for reassignment of those resources, provisions on the allocation of decommissioning costs and treatment of QF. Specific to the reassignment process is an agreement with Utah parties that provides additional detail on the process and filing requirements for the resource reassignment. This is included as attachment 3 to my testimony. The 2020 protocol establishes a process for states to diverge from the use of common resources over time, but in no way affects Pacific Corp's responsibility to prudently make decisions about the operation of its assets. Third, it contains a conditional agreement on certain issues intended to be implemented following the interim period, subject to final resolution of all outstanding issues. These are known as resolved issues, the most significant of which is the agreement to fix assignment of generation resources after the interim period. Fourth, it establishes a process and time frame to address and attempt to resolve all outstanding issues that the parties intend to resolve during the interim period, which are known as framework issues. The framework issues include the implementation or resolution of issues associated with a nodal pricing model, resource planning, and new resource assignment, limited realignment, special contracts, and post-interim period capital additions on coal field resources. The future resolution of framework issues, combined with the implemented issues and the resolved issues, would result in a new allocation methodology for Pacific Corp's 6 states, the post-interim period method. Fifth, the 2020 protocol establishes new governance provisions for MSP. It creates a framework issues work group, which is made up of the signatories to the 2020 protocol and who will work to resolve the framework issues. It also continues the MSP work group, which may be convened to resolve an allocation issue. Lastly, we appreciate the diligence and hard work by all of the stakeholders to reach the point of obtaining overwhelming agreement and support for the 2020 protocol. While it represents a significant amount of collaboration to date, much of the hard work remains to create a long-term, durable approach that provides maximum value to all customers while reflecting the policy decisions and goals of each of the states. We believe the 2020 protocol has created a strong framework to enable transitions and support for these ongoing discussions. Therefore, I recommend that the Commission approve the company's application for the 2020 protocol as filed. Thank you. That concludes my summary.
I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. This is Thad LeVar. Let me first go to Ms. Schmid. Do you have any questions for Ms. Stewart? Ms. Schmid, you may not have taken your phone off mute. Do you have any questions for Ms. Stewart?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moore, do you have any questions for Ms. Stewart?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lacey, do you have any questions?
No, we do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Russell, do you?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, Mr. Holman?
No questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Commissioner White, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Clark?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any either. So thank you for your testimony this morning, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Weniger, you can go with your next witness.
Rocky Mountain Power calls Steve McDougall.
Mr. McDougall, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. McDougall, can you please state your name and business address?
Yes, my name is Stephen R. McDougall, and my business address is 1407 West North Temple Street, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84116.
Did you submit testimony with the company's application in this matter?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any corrections to make to that testimony?
I do have one correction on line 97 of my testimony. On that line, I state that we will be finishing the decommissioning study for Coal Strip by March 31st, The commitment was March 15th.
Thank you. Any more corrections?
No.
I move to admit Mr. McDougall's testimony.
Hey, if anyone objects to that, this is Thad LeVar. If anyone objects to that motion, please speak up in the next few seconds. I'm not hearing any objections, so the motion is granted. Thank you.
Mr. McDougall, can you please provide a summary of your testimony?
Yes. My testimony supports the company's application for approval of the 2020 protocol and the overall agreement as addressed by Ms. Stewart. I will briefly describe some of the specific issues in my testimony. The first section of my testimony discusses the differences between the 2020 protocol and the 2017 protocol. Specifically, I discuss the changes to the embedded cost differential, or ECD. The second section of my testimony discusses implementation of the 2020 protocol during the interim period. I specifically refer to updated decommissioning studies, including an updated study for most of our coal plants that was filed in the depreciation docket on January 17th, and also an update for the coal strip plant that was filed last week. My testimony also discusses the allocation of decommissioning costs to states exiting coal plants as described in Section 4.3.1.4 of the agreement. The next section of my testimony discusses issues resolved by the 2020 protocol that will not be implemented until after the interim period. These issues include that all resources will be assigned to states on a fixed rather than dynamic basis using assigned production factors. After the interim period, transmission costs will continue to be dynamically allocated using a system transmission factor, which is the same calculation as the current system generation factor used for transmission. I describe changes to the calculation of the system overhead, or SO factor, and I also discuss other miscellaneous items, most of which are unchanged from the 2017 protocol. The last section of my testimony describes the following 2020 protocol appendices. Appendix A, which are the defined terms included in the 2020 protocol. Appendix B, the allocation factors by FERC account. Appendix C, the definition and algebraic calculation of allocation factors. Appendix E, which is the depreciable lives from filed depreciation studies. And Appendix G, which is the treatment of special contracts. In conclusion, I recommend that, based upon the filed testimony, the Commission approve the 2020 protocol as filed. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. This is Thad LeVar. If any party's attorney has questions for this witness, please jump on and indicate that you do in the next few seconds. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone with questions. Do either of the other two commissioners have questions for Mr. McDougall?
This is Jordan White.
Commissioner Clark, no questions.
Okay, no questions from either commissioners, and I didn't hear any questions from any of the parties. So thank you for your testimony this morning, Mr. McDougall. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ms. Wegner?
Rocky Mountain Power calls Mike Wilding.
Mr. Wilding, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you please state your name and business address?
Yes, my name is Michael G. Wilding. My business address is 825 Northeast Multnomah Street in Portland, Oregon, 97232.
Did you submit testimony with the company's application in this matter?
Yes, I did.
I move to admit that testimony.
This This is Thad LeVar. If any party objects to that motion, please jump on and indicate your objection. I'm not hearing any objections, so the motion is granted. Thank you.
Mr. Wilding, can you please provide a summary of your testimony?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I also appreciate this opportunity to present the 2020 protocol. Specifically, my testimony addresses the treatment of net power costs in the 2020 protocol, the development of the nodal pricing model to track net power costs in the post-interim period, and the agreement between the company and Washington parties resulting in the Washington Inter-Jurisdictional Allocation methodology, which we refer to as the YJAM. During the interim period, all costs associated with new qualifying facilities with a contract executed after December 31st, 2019 will be situs assigned to the state that approved the QF or the state of origin. This includes any existing QF contracts that renew after the state, and during the interim period, any QF costs above the reasonable energy price will be the responsibility of the state of origin. The reasonable energy price is based on a single blended market price derived from the company's official forward price curve that was used to set the QF price. Notably, this treatment is agreed to during the interim period. In the post-interim period, new QF costs will continue to be situs assigned to the state of origin, but it is intended that the cost will be tracked as part of the nodal pricing model. Additionally, as part of the resolved issues, it is agreed that all QF costs, new and existing, will be situs assigned beginning in 2030. The 2020 protocol provides a path for state-specific resource portfolios, but it will still be important to maintain the benefits of a system dispatch and optimization as much as possible. To allow for both unique resource portfolios and a system dispatch, the company has begun developing the nodal pricing model. The nodal pricing model is a framework issue and will track net power costs by state and fairly compensate states for interjurisdictional energy transfers using a locational marginal price. During the interim period, net power costs, however, will continue to be allocated dynamically. As part of the 2020 protocol, parties agreed to the nodal pricing model memo of understanding, which is included as Appendix D. In this memo of understanding, parties agreed that the investment in and the development of the nodal pricing model is a prudent decision by the company. However, the dollars are still subject to review. Additionally, this memo of understanding outlines the costs and benefits of the nodal pricing model, including the primary benefit of being able to track net power costs by state while being able to maintain a single system dispatch. The YJAM, or the Washington Inter-Jurisdictional Allocation methodology, is a separate agreement between the company and Washington parties on the interjurisdictional cost allocation method that will be used in Washington and is included in the 2020 protocol as Appendix F. The YJAM modifies the currently used Western Control Area Cost Allocation methodology, or WCA, and moves Washington closer to the same cost allocation methodology as all other states. Additionally, Washington parties were signatories to the 2020 protocol and are expected to participate in the Framework Issues Work Group. As previously stated by Ms. Stewart, the 2020 protocol has been the result of a long process and a lot of hard work and negotiation by all parties involved. The company appreciates the Utah parties' participation in the multi-state process, and I believe the 2020 protocol is in the public interest and recommend that the Commission approve it as filed. Thank you. This concludes my summary.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. This is Thad LeVar. If any party has questions for Mr. Wilding, please jump on and indicate that you do. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions. Commissioner Clark, do you have any questions for Mr. Wilding?
Thank you. No questions, Chair LeVar.
Commissioner White?
Thank you, no questions.
Okay, and I do not either, so thank you for your testimony today, Mr. Wilding. And Ms. Winger, do you have anything else? I'm sorry, I keep mispronouncing your name. I apologize.
It's okay. There's an E between every letter. You found it out. Wegener.
Wegener, okay.
The Rocky Mountain Power has nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Schmid, we'll go to you next for the Division of Public Utilities.
Thank you. The division would like to call Dr. William Powell as its witness.
Dr. Powell, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Please state your name, title, and business address for the record.
My name is Artie Powell. I'm the manager of the Division of Public Utilities, and our business address is 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84114.
Are you also known more formally as Dr. Powell?
By some, yes.
Thank you. Have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
I have.
Did you prepare and cause to be filed what's been titled the direct testimony of William R.T. Powell, Ph.D., for the division on February 25th, 2020?
Yes.
Do you have any changes to or corrections to that pre-file testimony?
No, I don't.
Do you adopt that pre-file testimony as your testimony today?
Yes.
With that, the division would like to move for the admission of the direct testimony of William R.T. Powell, Ph.D.
Hey, this is Thad LeVar. If anyone objects to that motion, please jump on and indicate your objection. And I'm not hearing any objections, so the motion is granted. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Powell, do you have a brief summary today?
Yes, actually very brief. I appreciate the company's summary of the 2020 protocol, so I won't go into any great details. I would like to mention just a couple of things. Ms. Stewart did indicate that the 2020 protocol extends the 2017 protocol, which is a dynamic allocation of the company's costs among the jurisdictions, with a few modifications through the interim period, which is January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2023. In that period of time, the work group will continue to work on what is known are the framework issues that have to be resolved. These framework issues include several things, including, as Mr. Wilding pointed out, the implementation and development of a nodal pricing model, and resolution of the framework issues and a post-interim period method may also trigger the need within the state to look at some other issues. For example, we may want to look at resource planning and resource assignment, which is part of the framework issues in Section 6.1 of the 2020 protocol. It also may, the development and use of a nodal pricing model may also warrant reviewing avoided cost methods within the state. I would also like to point out that resolution of the framework issues is necessary for a new post-interim period method or allocation method to be developed and implemented. If the framework issues cannot be resolved, then we're not bound by the 2020 protocol, and the company will file, and parties will probably come in and have their own ideas about what allocation method should be used in that post-interim period with that. But given the work that's been done and the outcome on the 2020 protocol, the division supports and recommends that the Commission adopt the 2020 protocol as being in the public interest. And with that, that concludes my summary.
Thank you. Dr. Powell is now available for cross-examination questions and questions from the commission.
Thank you. This is Thad LeVar. If any party has questions for this witness, please get on the phone and indicate so. Okay, I'm not hearing any questions from any parties. Commissioner White, do you have any questions for this witness?
No questions, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
And I don't either. Dr. Powell, thank you for your testimony this morning.
You're welcome.
Ms. Schmidt, anything else from the Division of Public Utilities?
Nothing further from the division. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moore.
Yes, the Office of Consumer Services calls Sherry Murray and asks that she be sworn.
Ms. Murray, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Cheryl Murray. I'm a utility analyst for the Office of Consumer Services.
In your capacity as utility analyst for the office, did you prepare and cause to be filed written testimony in this docket on March 19, 2020?
Actually, I prepared and caused to be filed testimony on February 25th, 2020 in this docket.
I'm sorry. Do you have any changes to this testimony you'd like to note now?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
The office moves to admit the testimony.
If anyone objects to that motion, please indicate your objection. I'm not hearing any objections, so the motion is granted. Thank you.
In your capacity of utility analyst for the office, did you participate in the negotiations that led to the settlement as the subject of this hearing?
Yes, I did.
Have you reviewed the settlement documents in detail?
Yes, I have.
In your opinion, is the settlement in the public interest and just and reasonable in result?
Yes, it is my opinion that the settlement is in the public interest and is just and reasonable in result. Therefore, I recommend that the Commission approve the 2020 protocol.
Ms. Murray is now available for cross and questions from the Commission.
Thank you. If any party has questions for Ms. Murray, please indicate that to me. I'm not hearing any questions from parties. Commissioner White, do you have any questions for Ms. Murray?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Clark?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, and I don't either. So thank you for your testimony, Ms. Murray.
You're welcome.
Mr. Moore? Mr. Moore, anything else? I'm sorry, we were talking over each other. Can you repeat yourself?
The office has no more to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Ms. Hayes?
Thank you. Good morning. This is Sophie Hayes on behalf of Western Resource Advocates, and we would like to call Nancy Kelly as our witness today.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly, do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly, will you please state your name and business address for the record?
Nancy Kelly, 9463 North Swallow Road, Pocatello, Idaho, 83201.
Did you file direct testimony in this docket on February 25th, 2020?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to that testimony?
No, I do not.
Right now, WRA would move to admit that testimony to the record.
Thank you. If any party objects to that motion, please indicate your objection. I'm not hearing any objection, so the motion is granted. Thank you.
Ms. Kelly, do you have a brief summary for the commission today?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I recommend the
Please proceed.
commission. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, I was just saying, go ahead. Pardon.
Thank you. I recommend the commission approve the 2020 protocol as just and reasonable in result. In the near term, the 2020 protocol allocates resources consistent with rolled in, while providing a transition from dynamic allocation of system generation, fixed allocation of state-specific generation, which accommodates differing state energy policies. This is needed at this time because once a state exits from resources that continue to serve customers in other of PacifiCorp's jurisdictions, PacifiCorp customers will no longer be served by common generating facilities as they are today. As a result, the dynamic method of cost allocation that has been used with various modifications since the 1989 merger will be less viable, at least over some period of time. However, I can envision the day when we could return to dynamic allocation. In my view, the need to fundamentally change cost allocation is a result of PacifiCorp's 6 state jurisdictions undertaking at differing speeds the energy transition that the electric industry is undergoing. As the multiple factors driving the energy transition continue to play out, I anticipate that the day will arrive when PacifiCorp could once again serve customers with common generating resources and costs could again be dynamically allocated. In the meantime, this 2020 protocol provides an opportunity for Utah and this commission to make intentional, risk-aware decisions about its energy future, and it provides a reasonable path to a new cost allocation paradigm in which states are no longer served by a common resource portfolio. Thank you. This concludes my summary.
Ms. Kelly is now available for questioning.
Thank you. If any party has questions for Ms. Kelly, please indicate that you have a question. I'm not hearing anything from parties. Commissioner Clark, do you have any questions for Ms. Kelly?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner White?
No questions, thank you.
And I don't have any questions. Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you.
Ms. Hayes, anything else from Western Resource Advocates?
Nothing further from us. Thank you.
Anything else from any party before we adjourn the hearing? I'm not hearing anything from anyone, so we will consider the testimony. Considering that there has been no opposition filed with us or stated in the hearing today to the 2020 protocol, we will indicate our intention to issue a written order in a short period of time approving the 2020 protocol as it was filed with us. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.